Today on Singles Court, Gwen gets turned on when she hears her neighbor getting it on.
She only wants to have sex when her neighbors are having sex.
Well, they're having sex a lot.
But Arthur's tired of keeping up and says 4 walls aren't foreplay.
I'm tired of having sex in stereo all the time, you know?
And Jesse swapped one ball and chain for another.
When he got out, he asked me to keep him on the straight and narrow.
He wants Louise to loosen the leash.
When I ask you to help me, it means support. It don't mean be my mom.
But she thinks this ex-con will end up back in the can.
Because he's not honest with me.
What
Okay,
are you
how so?
talking about?
How so?
Hi, I'm Michael Day. Welcome to Singles Court, the #1 show on the Singles Broadcast Network and the place where singles come to find help with their relationship problems. And here's the lady who listens to them, nationally syndicated relationship expert Angela Siegel.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Fine. You know, I have invitation after invitation after invitation. You know, when you're in this business, everybody invites you to their wedding.
Yeah, I know. I have invitation after invitation, too.
Oh. I'm sorry. You didn't get one. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it must be the mailing problem. I'm sure they're backlogged at the post office. Yeah.
You're right.
So,
That's
anyhow, enough about who's getting more invitations to what. We have business to take care of, okay, please? In the studio today, we have Arthur, who is an electronics repairman, and Gwen, who makes her own jewelry. Now, the two have been dating for only a few weeks now, and problems have already arisen. Arthur has a problem with Gwen in that she only wants to have sex in her apartment when her neighbors apparently are having sex as well. They can hear them through the walls. That explains it. So I will let them tell you more about it, but I call this the case of thick skin, thin walls, or keeping up with the Joneses.
Okay. Well, Arthur, this is the first. I usually don't have men that come in here complaining about sex, so let me hear it.
If it was just the sex, I've got nothing to complain about. We started seeing each other, what, about 3 weeks ago, right?
About 2.5 weeks ago.
It was
You mean
great.
Less than 3 weeks, okay.
Yeah, we met at a mutual friend was having a barbecue, and we were talking.
You made me laugh.
Yeah, we couldn't stop talking all night, and I asked her if she would mind if I walked her home,
and I tripped.
Yeah. And next thing you know, we're like in her apartment, and you know.
And you're not walking anymore.
We had sex that night, and this is, you know, a guy complaining about having sex.
No, it was
great.
It was great. I mean, it was like
it was
was unbelievable. She's wild, and I've never.
And incredibly enthusiastic. What more could you ask for?
Well, not much on that department. I mean, it was great. And we've been going out again about 3 weeks, and
having a great
time.
So
okay, everything's great here. It's all sounding great.
Okay, the problem.
I feel like I'm on Leave It to Beaver.
The problem is that Gwen only wants to have sex.
Do you keep a calendar? It's not
she only wants to have
time.
sex when her neighbors are having sex.
Well, they're having sex a lot. So what?
Well, okay. At first, it was fun. I mean, at first, it was sort of.
You seemed to be enjoying it.
It was fun. I mean, it was like.
I heard my own little.
Well, we were laughing. We were laughing at it. We were having a great time ourselves. Well, the last week or so, I've just started noticing that.
In between the sex.
Well, yeah, that. I'll start coming on or something with her, you know, and being her. We were yesterday. Yesterday we were watching Oprah.
That's foreplay.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love to know that that's interesting enough to make you want to have sex.
Well, I started, you know, we started getting close, and then she's like, no, not now, later. I'm like, what do you mean later? And it's like, she'll only have sex.
So you pushed him away at that time because?
Because I was watching TV.
No, because your neighbor wasn't having sex.
Oh, come on.
It's like every time we got, okay, my complaint is I'm tired of having sex in stereo all the time, you know? It's like, I wanna.
I think you're a little uptight.
I don't think so.
Come on, it's not like
it's one thing to only have sex in your apartment, which is fine, okay? I don't mind having sex in your apartment, but why is it only when your neighbor's going at it?
Come on, am I asking you to put on a rubber diaper or something?
Gwen. pull up your pants and listen for a second.
It's not a fetish.
What do you call it?
Yeah.
I call it being in my own environment, adding a little
it's
new
a
one.
fetish. It's a crazy fetish. Like, what is this? This is crazy.
Well, you know
It's
what?
a little
Let me give you a little clue. The way you stop that is you have two choices. You either don't see her anymore, or buckle your pants up
Okay,
and zip
but
your
what
fly.
happens if I'm falling for her?
No,
You know, like we've been going out for a few weeks, and I think. Yes.
No, you're falling for the sex, because that's all you talked about.
Well, the sex is great, but I think we have more.
Really, what would that be?
We have
Walls and a lock and a door?
I think.
Some belly laughs.
Well, we've had lots of laughs, but I've never gotten along with a woman like I get along with Gwen.
But the whole thing is based on sex. Take that out of the picture and the laughs that she thought were so hilarious.
Well, I thought
and
we
then
had
what
a
do
lot.
you have left?
I thought we have a lot in common.
Which would be?
Well, our conversations. We're always talking about
sex and the people next door.
Well, that's only because their next door neighbors won't stop having sex.
Oh, well, they stop
Oh, that sounds
having
like a
sex
relationship
sometimes.
made in heaven to me. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what you've got about being enthusiastic and vocalizing a little bit. You know, I mean, there's
a little
plenty
bit
of
is fine.
guys-
And, you know, I thought you were being
Why are
vocal.
you so obsessed about what my neighbor is doing? I
You're
mean,
both
you're the one who's
vocal.
got the
it's,
problem.
I mean, I'm thinking about what kind of apartment do you live in? What kind of walls?
Well,
are there?
her walls are like tissue paper.
What are they, like belly
I mean,
paper
she's got
towels?
like Kleenex for walls.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Okay, so you two are only having sex, according to Arthur.
Yeah.
According to
Only when your neighbors are having sex.
Yeah, and her neighbor, like 2 days ago, comes up to me in the hallway and says, so would you tell Gwen to quit being so pathetic?
What does that mean,
Pathetic.
Gwen?
Like, well, yeah, I'd like to.
Is this the same neighbor that's having sex?
Well, yeah, I'd like to know what this
What's up
means.
with
yeah,
that?
he lives next door to me. Oh, pathetic. Well, that's...
You know this guy?
I guess he didn't think you were so funny and belly aching, did he?
Yeah.
So why is
well,
he
I know him.
calling
He's
you
an idiot,
pathetic?
okay? He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about, okay? So I would refrain from any further conversations.
Why
with
would he
the
call you
dude
pathetic,
next door.
though?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, do you know
let's
him?
guess.
I know him.
How
okay?
well do you know
I know him. I know him. All right.
I mean, he knows your
He's
name.
my neighbor. Okay, I move in. Dude next to me has a really loud alarm clock. Okay, it's bugging me. So I go over there in the morning to tell him to turn it off because I can't get any sleep. And I open the door, and he's drop dead gorgeous, and he wasn't what I was expecting. Okay.
So
you were going out with this guy, weren't you?
We were not going out. It
Well,
was nothing.
did you have sex with him?
Oh, he's with a little
Did you have
blonde
sex with him?
now.
Did you
I
sleep
did.
with him?
I
Well, then that
did.
means you're going out with him.
I'm not going out.
No, come on. I mean, this is like revenge. You're
with
just
the blondie now.
What are you? You're just using me? Are you using me?
I'm not using anybody.
Well,
Can
then
you give me a
what-
time count? Let me know when they're done.
Yeah.
Having
Listen,
a
Arthur.
good time.
Okay, Gwen, Arthur, you're not the king of this court. Okay.
Do I get to say anything
So
today?
just,
Because if not, you know, I need
if you
to get a
want
boot
the
polish
help,
and a
it's
pedicure.
here. But you got to shut up and listen for a second.
I'm sorry. All right.
I mean, let's
It's
get down
a
to
little bit of a coincidence that we happen to have
Gwen!
sex when the idiot is
Gwen!
bumping the stupid blonde.
Gwen, you know what?
It's a little
You even know what she looks like?
Gwen. So you have two problems. Your pants fall down and your mouth falls open. Okay? So just be quiet
Well,
and
at
listen
least
for
the mouth is laughing while it's open.
not funny. That's the problem. If you close your legs and keep your mouth shut, you learn something. Arthur, why are you so surprised she had sex with the neighbor when she had sex with you the first night she met you, and then continued to have sex with him listening? What's the big surprise?
I don't know. I guess I come from a.
I don't know where you come from. You tell me where
I come from a world where you can meet someone and you can actually fall in love and maybe have a relationship. I don't
not a
know.
relationship.
I don't
in love
know
with
what
me?
this is.
Oh, going to resolution. Please,
Thank
can you
you.
stay apart from each other for a second?
I don't know what the hell
I'm
you're.
sorry.
No, I mean like
you're mad at me because I'm not falling in love with
Well,
you.
you're like only using.
Gwen, I just want to be sure I understand you correctly. Now, this guy who was your neighbor who called you pathetic, was he one of your sexual encounters as well?
Yes, he was, okay? And it's over now. And the reason why I'm having sex with you when he's having sex is I want to tick him off. Pretty cut and dry. You got it right.
Alrighty then. Well, it's time for my resolution. It doesn't take a genius to figure out this is not a relationship that you all have. It's a sex thing. And since she pretty much told you it's over anyway, let me just give you a little information, Arthur. First of all, you don't take a sexual relationship and turn it into love. It needs to start out there, and then the sex comes later. You know, you can't make it into something that you would like it to be. You all started out on the sexual tip, and it carried throughout the full 3 weeks. I'm surprised it lasted that long. You know, I look at your situation, Gwen, and it scares me because what you're telling me is basically you have no problem using your body as a sexual weapon. You use it for revenge. I hope at some point you're using it for pleasure, because it doesn't sound like you're having so much fun, although you do laugh a lot, but I think you're just hiding your own insecurities. You know, if you think about it, sexual intimacy is like dessert. It was supposed to be served last. You all both decided you just to make light of it and have it all the time whenever you felt like it. You put very little value in it. And I'll tell you one thing, when you put very little value in sexual intimacy, what happens on the other end, and this is especially for you, people put very little value in you. And that's that, the final word.
Next on Singles Court, Jesse swapped one ball and chain for another.
When he got out, he asked me to keep him on the straight and narrow.
He wants Louise to loosen the leash.
When I ask you to help me, it means support. It don't mean be my mom.
But she thinks this ex-con will end up back in the can.
Because he's not honest with me.
Welcome back to Singles Court with nationally syndicated relationship expert Angela Siegel.
Oh, you caught me finishing my donut.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay, well, we'll give you time to chew as I introduce to you the new singles in our studio. Please say hello to Louise and Jesse. Louise is a nurse and Jesse's a mechanic. However, it doesn't stop there. Jesse was recently released from prison where Louise actually worked as a nurse. The two have developed a relationship since, have been living together for about 6 months, and in fact are engaged to be married. However, Jesse has a bit of a beef because he feels like he's still living behind bars. I call this the case of still doing time.
Well, Jesse, it sounds like you're on lockdown. No pun intended. What's the problem?
Well, I done some bad things. I used to run with some bad people. Now, my friends and me, we did a bank job.
Meaning? You mean you did something to a bank, in a bank, worked at a bank?
Oh, we robbed the bank.
Okay.
And
All right.
we got caught, got put away, did some time. Now I'm on parole. Now when I was inside, I met Louise. She was working as a nurse. We got friendly.
At the prison?
Well, not too friendly, you know.
I was going to say, they changed the rules, haven't they?
He was sick quite a bit.
I bet.
Yeah, migraine, hangnail, you know.
Hangnail. Okay. All right.
And then she told me that if I did some courses, I could make myself better.
Which is true. That's a good thing.
Thank you. I became a licensed mechanic through correspondence courses. And when I got out, on parole, hooked up with Louise, and we moved in for 6 months now.
That sounds good. I mean, what's the problem?
Well, about a month ago, she changed things. I'd be at work, she'd be phoning me, asking me, what am I doing, who am I with, where am I going?
Jesse, these are all things you asked me to do.
Wait, what do you mean he asked you to do?
You know, Angela, I love him so much. He's such a good man. You know, in prison, we got to know each other so well, and when he got out, he asked me to keep him on the straight and narrow.
Okay, but when he said that like he meant it literally, I'm sure he has a parole officer.
Well,
that's their job. Yeah, he loves you, I would think, in a different way than a parole officer, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
He asked me to help him.
Okay, and
okay,
what do you think
I've been helping him.
What do you think that entails? Helping him, what does that mean?
It means keeping him on the straight and narrow.
Give me an example.
Well, you know, making sure that he doesn't hang with the wrong crowd. I mean, I've seen these cons. They come in.
Now, how exactly would you do that? Keep making sure he doesn't hang with the wrong crowd. What exactly would you do to ensure that?
Well, in terms of the people that he hangs out with.
But how would you stop him? I mean, the leash is too big for him. I can look at his neck right now and tell you everything's gonna fit around his neck. So what would you do?
Well, it's the people that he hangs out with. You know, have him examine them a little closer.
But who would examine them? You?
Well, I think maybe both of us should.
When I ask you to help me, it means support. It don't mean be my mom's.
I think I am supporting you.
I thought you were going to say, I think I am your mom. I mean, do you see what he's saying? I guess what he's trying to tell you is that I want you to help me, but not necessarily look over every single thing I do.
Well, it's, you know, it's hard not to look over his shoulder. I mean...
Because you love him.
Well, yeah, because I love him. But, you know, sometimes, no matter how much you think you're reformed, you still turn around and
yeah, sometimes.
It just takes one little temptation.
And what are you going to do to stop the temptation? Go ahead.
Last week, a watch went missing. Family heirloom. Expensive silver watch.
Whose was that?
Hers.
Okay. So
her grandmama left it to her.
Okay, and?
She accused me of stealing it.
You accused him of stealing a watch?
Well,
she accused me of stealing the watch, selling it so I could buy drugs. Then she found the watch behind the dresser, did not apologize to me.
That's beat up. That's beat up. So the watch wasn't gone. I mean, why don't you trust him? Because it sounds like this is new behavior. Like you used to trust him a little better than you trust him now. Did you only trust him in prison? I mean, why don't you trust him?
Because he's not honest with me.
Okay, how so?
What are you talking about?
How so?
Where's your friend Dean these days?
Who's Dean?
Dean was his buddy. He grew up with him, did everything with Dean. They robbed a bank together, did time together, even got out at the same time. And? He's been hanging around with Dean ever since he got out of jail, and Dean went back to robbing banks.
Dean looked me up. He asked me if I was going to go in on something with him. I said no.
So you knew Dean was back to his old tricks?
I heard things, you know.
Okay, and did you get involved with Dean?
No, I said stay away from me, away from Louise.
Wouldn't that be a condition of the parole, I would think, too, right?
That's right.
Not allowed to associate.
I mean,
anyway, he did a job.
How do you know that?
All it takes is just one little temptation. Okay.
But what I guess
it wasn't he did a job.
Do you hear my question, Louise? Because you haven't answered it, and I've asked you it 3 different ways. What are you going to do? This temptation abounds everybody. What can you do to keep temptation away from him? Because I know the answer, but it doesn't sound like you do.
I think I know the answer. You need to trust me a little bit. I mean, we're a team.
Well, why did you tell me about
Tell you what? Why didn't he tell you what? About the Dean's robbing banks? But what does that have to do with him? That's the part I'm missing. No. What does that have to do with him?
Ain't got nothing to do with me. We used to have something, we don't have nothing no more. Now you and me got something. Now, I love you. I want to have kids with you.
Too.
But you got to trust me if we're going to have something together.
Do you see what he's saying? I mean, do you understand what he's saying? I mean, you work in the prison system. So how can you tell other people to trust these people and employ them, and you don't even trust them to marry them? Tell me. Help me out here.
That's a good point.
I mean, isn't that what it's about? And I feel like I'm doing some sort of public service announcement to somebody who works in it. That's what you do.
I'm doing counseling.
I mean,
we're doing it together.
Please, Louise, tell me that you at least see that what he's saying, that you understand that he's saying you don't trust me.
I understand.
Do you understand the need that you need to trust him if you're going to have a relationship with him?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be back with my resolution. Kiss and make up.
You can't be upset now on TV. It's bad.
We all know the saying that trust is earned. And Jesse, you seem to know the deal. You know that you have to stay away from the people, the places, and the things that will land you back in the joint. You seem to understand that very clearly. I think you know that you're in a situation where people are going to judge you by your past. That's not new. That happens a lot of times. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. You just have to understand it and give people time to get to know who you are. But those people should not include the woman that he loves. You've known him long enough, been with him long enough, lived with him long enough. It's time to trust him. As far as I'm concerned, you owe him an apology for accusing him of stealing something they didn't even steal. And he said you never apologized for that. I mean, I think that's horrible. You know, at some point, you have to say to yourself, I can't shield him from temptation. I can't shield him. I can't shield a child. You can't shield people from temptations. They're there. There's nothing you can personally do to stop that from happening to him. The choice is ultimately his. You know, trust, once it's violated, it's very slow to return. You can't put the timetable on that. That's up to other people whether or not they're going to trust you. But when it comes to a relationship, you're the one that's supposed to be giving him the support, Louise. You're the one that he's supposed to be able to lean on. And support is not given to someone pointing a finger and telling them what to do. It's given to someone through love, through your heart, and saying to them that no matter what, I'm the one that believes in you. I want you all to stay together. I wish you the best. I hope you get married and have lots of babies. But I will tell you that I hope that when you look down the road, the only chains that bound you will be the chains of love. And that's that, the final word.
Well, there it is. Words of wisdom from the lady who tells it like it is. The most trustworthy person I know, Angela Siegel. And I trust you'll join us next time here at Singles Court. The final word for singles.